about what's going on here in the heart and the things that bother us. And if you're struggling with something, something happened to you, okay, trauma, whatever you want to call it, when you were younger, when it happened to you at 13, you will still struggle with that at 83 if you don't do something about it.
What kind of footprint do you want to leave during your life? Our next guest says it's all about building a legacy, and that can start at a very young age. Joining us now is Chief Master Sergeant veteran who is an author, speaker, mindset coach, and the CEO of the Chief Empowerment Network, Roderick Cunningham. Roderick, welcome to Bloom.
Well, thank you.
So I know a lot of your passion for what you do today and helping teens and youth comes from your own personal backstory.
Yes, I was born in the projects of Jacksonville, Florida. My mother was 15 when I was born, and my father was 19, only he passed away 2 weeks before my birth in a car accident. And so my mom ends up remarrying. I think he was 24, she was 16. And, but it was a very abusive relationship, and so I grew up watching abuse until we escaped the house in the middle of the night when I was 7 years old.
Wow. So that created a lot of trauma for you.
It did.
And it also kind of puts you on a road to your own, struggles with mental health and, pulling your own life together, which is completely understandable. I mean, you were just a child. And
I was a child who needed guidance from a man, and I did not have that. So what I found was joining the Air Force gave me that. I was able to see men who were full of life, who were honorable, who were respectful, and I said, okay, I can model that. And so I ended up staying 30 years.
Good for you, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
And so you turn your life around, you get on the right track, and now you've made it your mission to help other youth.
Yes.
Do you primarily focus on young men?
I do. I believe that if a nation is broken, you can point to a broken state. If a state is broken, you can point to a broken city. If the city is broken, you can point to a broken community. If the communities are broken, you can point to a broken school. If the schools are broken, you can point to a broken family. If the family is broken, you can point to a missing or broken father. So if we can get to the men early and teach them how to be fathers, teach them how to get rid of that brain fog based on the things that happen to them in their lives, they can stay in their relationships and they can grow and create a legacy that they'd be proud of.
I love that word, because you say it really all comes down to leaving a legacy. And you think, oh, a legacy could be money, a legacy could be this, but a legacy could be a beautiful life. It could be the example that you have served for another person and the family that you leave behind, because that goes on for generations to follow. The impact that you have on your family's life can last for generations.
And I speak about that in terms of the F7, or the 7 Fs. So we need to have balance in faith, family, finances, fitness, frequency, and fun, and friendships.
That's beautiful. And so you start with young men in high school, correct?
That's correct.
And how is this received? Like, what do you?
The young men, they really love the fact that there's someone who's willing to help them understand why they're acting out sometimes, right? We don't know why we're acting out, especially in the African American community, because we deal with grief very hard. And so if someone they lost a father, lost a grandparent, they don't realize that their sadness is still connected to that loss. It's like we all have an emotional bucket, and when someone dies in our family, it begins to fill up that bucket. Well, that bucket doesn't empty because it was 10 years ago. Or even 20 years ago. If we love that person, that bucket is still filled until we put the spigots in to release those emotions. Otherwise, another life event happens, falls into the bucket, and our emotions spill out over everyone.
Yeah. So it's about learning to handle emotions properly at a young age.
Learning how to handle, but learning why. See, we have to know why we're hurting so then we can fix that. We can put the spigots in to release those emotions in our bucket. But many times we don't know why. We just think, you know, I'm destined to be sad, or I'm destined to be have anxiety, or I'm destined to be angry, or what have you. And so you're not destined. You can fix that. But some people think, I'm 19, this is how I'm always going to be, this is life for me. And they don't realize they have such a long life to live, and they can fix that and live a great, wonderful life with a wonderful legacy.
And you talk about the pain and the loss. Are there other things that, you know, trigger this sadness and trigger this hopelessness?
Yes, so parental abandonment. So when our parents divorce at a young age, that can bring anxiety into our lives. So if a parent divorced at 7, let's say your mom or dad walked away at 7, well, that can be the anchor for the emotion of anxiety. And so that anxiety just continues on in your life, and you never really deal with that. Then, of course, there's trauma. And then we have also rejection. Your first breakup. You were 16, he was 16, you gave your heart to him, he gave his heart back. We as adults, we call that puppy love, but to a 16-year-old, that heart connection is real. And so only to find out 6 months later, he's going out with your best friend. And so now you base every relationship off of a 16-year-old, your whole life.
Oh my, that's so interesting. I could sit here and talk to you all day, which means we have to have you come back for sure. But man, what a pleasure it is to meet you, and thank you for what you do to serve in our community.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You can watch this story by heading to our website,